Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 132. This podcast is about anything and everything related to Destiny the game. If you love playing Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, we welcome friend and Twitch streamer CaptainMcFly as we cover our most anticipated improvements from the Season 2 roadmap, the new Masterworks and raid improvements from the patch, and how the Crucible could become more enjoyable for all players. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT, and of course here with me is CyborgSasquatch. How you doing, man?
Hello, AER0KNIGHT.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
It's going great.
Good. I feel like I just saw you the other day.
I know, right? It's at least just been a week or so.
It's about 3 days.
Right. I know, there was a late recording. Late recording, early recording.
Yep, back to back.
So now we're almost recording as early as we possibly can. So at least we got the TWAB, so there's plenty to talk about. But I'm good, dude. Reporting in each week. The family is healthy and doing excellently now. So everybody's sleeping well. So
huzzah!
Going pretty good, man. How about you?
Good. Just another week in paradise, if you will. Not a lot of announcements this week, but we do have a special guest.
Ooh!
So welcome to the show, CaptainMcFly.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah,
how are you?
To have you on. Tell us, where does the CaptainMcFly moniker?
I mean, it's kind of a blend of two of my favorite IPs or, things that I like. I like comic books and Marvel, so Captain America is my favorite. He's kind of like the guy that I would aspire to be, or he's the man I would most like to be, very noble, respectable, and kind of like a good noble compass. And McFly comes from my favorite movie of all time, Back to the Future, which is a perfect movie, and I will argue that with anybody. It is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It is the greatest, and that's it.
I love Back to the Future, so I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
No,
dude, it's so good.
Spot on.
Love that movie.
McFly!
It's funny, too. I've mentioned about that movie. My kiddo, he's little, and we were watching it, and it's funny how those classic movies, he just got sucked into it. And it's like, they're just, some movies are just magical. Like, they just have that ability to draw anyone into it, and that one is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I remember showing it to my sister-in-law for the very first time, and this was in 2013. She'd never seen it before. She had never seen Back to the Future. And I remember watching it with her, and by the end, I didn't think she was going to care for it at all. And then by the end, she's sitting up, she's leaning forward, and she's really into it. And by the end, she's like, wow, that was really good. I was expecting to fall asleep. I'm like, I know, isn't it good? And so, I mean, even for someone that had never seen it before, a movie from the 80s still held up and was engaging.
That's a cool thing. It really is.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, why don't you, if you don't mind, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what got you into gaming, man? How you ended up on the show with us?
Sure. Well, I mean, for those that don't know me, again, my name's CaptainMcFly. I am a broadcaster on Twitch. I work in the television and production industry. Been doing that for about 4 years.
Nice.
And I played Destiny since the D1 Alpha. And it was the entire reason why I bought a PlayStation 4 was because I got an alpha code from a colleague who was like, I don't want to play this. And I'm like, I've been following this game since they first announced it because it looked amazing. I was like, this could be like Mass Effect meets Halo. This is everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah, I'm from the alpha too. And when we got to the beta, it was like, dang, we got to level to 8 again.
I know. It's like, come on. But at the same time, it's all I would do. I would come home and just play the beta. It's like, I didn't care. It's like, I'm going to the same map on the moon. I don't care. I loved it. And after the beta, I remember after the alpha and after the beta concluded, Like, well, now what? I don't want to play anything. I just want to play Destiny. This is the best. But my first exposure to gaming, when I was really young, the NES was my very first console. And so that got me into gaming when I was very young, about 7, 8 years old. And then GoldenEye 64 is my first-person shooter. And then Battlefield 1942 is my first online shooter experience. And I no-lifed the crap out of that game. It was so fun. I mean, all I would do is I lived the sniper moniker. I was like, I will not die. I will not be found. I will get 40 kills and maybe die once. And that was all I set out to do. And I loved it. And to me, what drew me to Destiny is like what I was saying too. It looked like the bits I enjoyed from Mass Effect that had, you know, the supers, the abilities and things like that. But then also I enjoy Bungie games. I enjoy Halo games and Call of Duty and things like that. And so it just seemed like a perfect mesh of things that I love. And the idea of a loot grind also was very enticing. You know, I love Diablo and World of Warcraft and things like that. So it was almost like the perfect storm of, I can't play games all the time, but if this scratches all these different itches in one game or one focus, I'm sold.
Yeah, that's the great thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So started with NES, huh? So
yeah, NES, man.
I think we're all in the same boat.
Yep.
That's how we date people on this show. What was your console?
Yeah. Did you guys have handhelds when you grew up?
I had
like Game Boys or Game Gears?
I had like an original brick, gray Game Boy.
Yeah.
Nice. I can't remember. I don't think I ever had the Game Boy, but I definitely had a Game Gear.
Yeah, I had a Game Gear too. I had a Game Boy and a Game Gear.
Yeah, and you
Game
were the
Gear
guys
was so
that
cool.
I was jealous of because you had Game Gears.
Yeah, it's like it's in color. The screen was so
They were
tiny, but
cool.
you didn't care. It's like, this is so awesome. It looks so good.
Yep, the old days.
Mm-hmm.
So, how'd you end up streaming? What brought you to Twitch?
Oddly enough, it was my wife. But the first time I ever found, we'll come back to that. But the first time I ever found the platform, I was traveling cross country for a location shoot in Anaheim, and we had to drive a set from. I live in the Dallas area, so I'm in Texas, and so we had to drive from Texas all the way to Anaheim, and on the way back was during the release of Destiny 1, and I was really mad because I was going to miss the opening week of Destiny. And so my wife had to go pick up my collector's edition. They were like, we need to see your driver's license. We had just been married. She hasn't changed it yet. So her last name and mine didn't match. And we can't give it to you. It was such a pain. But eventually we got it. It all worked out. My Dinklebot ghost still sits in my office. And I love that it's still his voice. So the way I found Twitch was I wanted to watch people playing Destiny, even though I couldn't play it for a week. And so every night in my hotel, I remember seeing Twitch and sharing on the PlayStation. I'm like, I don't even know really what this is, but I remember just looking for the app on my iPad and just watched people play Destiny. I didn't really chat or engage much. I watched Laced Up Lauren a lot, just because hey, this girl likes, the same music that I do. That's cool. Occasionally would talk and be like, hey, that song's awesome. And then she would talk back and be like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. I'm glad you like it. It's like, what? This is kind of cool. And so, but it was just something that was just kind of very passive for me. And then I remember my wife wanted to watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or something like that. And I really did not want to. I was not in the mood. But she's like, I was like, can I just go play Destiny or something? She's like, no, I want you to be here with me. So it's like, all right, fine. So I got my iPad and plugged in my headphones. And I was like, can I, be on my iPad, either play some Hearthstone or, watch Twitch or whatever. And she's like, yeah, sure, it's fine. And so I was watching Gathalion. And she was like, are you playing Destiny right now? I'm like, no, I'm watching this guy play. But what's really cool is this is what he does. He provides for his family this way. A lot of people come in and hang out with him. And, there's 800 or 900 people in here. And she's like, wow, really? People do that? It's like, yeah, a lot of people do that.
Watch people play video games?
I know. And she's like, that
thing.
many people do it? And it's like, yeah. And he's able to raise his family that way. I'm like, yep, he sure does. She's like, wow, that's cool. Have you ever thought about trying it? I remember just doing the slow turn, the oh really owl, just excuse me.
You're like,
I didn't think you'd ever go for it.
Get that into a conversation way differently.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like, this would never be okay. Like, this would never fly. She'd be like, this is just an excuse for you to play more games, which it has been. But at the same time, I was like, I never thought you'd go for it. And it's like, well, I mean, check it out. You should go for it. I think you'd have fun doing it. And so kind of with her encouragement, that's kind of how I kind of started from there, and, been figuring things out on the go, and been streaming now for about, it'll be 2 years this May.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
been a fun journey.
I've been in your chat and hanging out several times. You just got kind of a chill, hanging out, laid back vibe. It's just a good time for sure.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, we strive to have a very positive, kind of like a family friend like experience. Kind of like going to Cheers, but with video games. Everyone's excited to see you and see how your day's going. Maybe shoot some mans, get some loot, or watch a playthrough of something else.
Right at home. It sounds like the Derb fam.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you kind of told us why you got how you got into Destiny, pretty much, Bungie and Halo, and the type of games you like. So we'll jump right to telling us the favorite class and weapon of yours in Destiny 2 right now.
In Destiny 2, definitely Titan, because Sentinel Titan and the Captain America Power Fantasy. Just for that reason alone. I mean, it's super simple. But in D1, I was definitely a Warlock. Warlock was my favorite.
He's catering to both of us, Cyborg. I mean, this is a first, I think.
I know.
We don't have any hunters on here, man. So Cyborg's Warlock, Titan here. So yeah,
there you go.
You're on our good sides. Very cool. Weapon. What about a weapon?
Oh, for D2, main ingredient, Voop Nation for life, man. Fusions are one of the most unique weapons in Destiny, and it is just so satisfying. It's like the ultimate nope gun. Yep. Just zoop, boom, take a seat. Especially, I set mine up to be a arc one. So whenever you see a striker or an arc strider, or if you ever see like a stormcaller, it's like nope, poof, take a seat, you're done.
That's great.
That Voop feels so good.
Oh,
do you have a favorite fusion or favorite weapon overall in Destiny 2?
I mean, I would just still say main ingredient. I love fusion rifles, and I love that one. It's so good. The perks are solid, and it's very fun. Merciless, I guess, would be a fun second, because it makes a fusion rifle viable in the PvE environment. A big boss just chipping away at them really well, especially if you've got a full reserve. So yeah, I would say main ingredient followed by Merciless would be my favorites, just because it's such a unique weapon. It's very unique to the game and to the experience.
I have to ask, what was your go-to in D1?
Oh, Saladin's Vigil. I loved the role that I had, man. It had snapshot and I think rifled barrel and something else. I don't know, but it was so good because I had the timing down perfect, so you could just ADS real quick to get that nice tight grouping, and buttery smooth. I love that gun.
Since we talked about good old Saladin's Vigil.
Yep, haven't heard that one in a while. It was
love
a good gun though.
Remember when that one was figured out, and when that one came to light, it's like,
oh yeah,
yep.
I was lucky to get the drop that I got too, and I'm like, you know what, this makes sense. This synergizes well with ADSing and trying to get the most distance you can while keeping tight, a tight spread. It was so good. So good, because it gave you the safety of keeping distance from shotguns. You could be beyond shotgun range, but still get that one hit if you timed it right and if you aimed it right.
Yeah, basically, infusions are beasts in Destiny 2, and I don't have my No Land Beyond to shut them down before you guys can charge those things.
Your No Land crutch.
Yeah.
That is a gun I could never get to work for me, man. I don't know. Maybe it was the field of view. I don't know. I tried. Yep. I could not make it work. It's
a tricky gun. Yeah, it's a gun where you just kind of beat your head against it, and then one day it clicks, and then you got it.
Yeah.
Speak to that. Well, I bet you're excited about some of the news we got today when it comes to fusions.
Yes.
Most important question we have to ask you. is, does pineapple belong on your pizza or no?
I guess the question is, does it belong? Can it be on your pizza? Yes, but with the appropriate toppings. It is not anarchy. It can be delicious and sometimes.
Tell us what is appropriate for this blasphemous affair.
I would say, just very traditional Canadian bacon and pineapple, and maybe some pepperoni with it too if you want a little extra protein.
Almost like a Hawaiian. Well, it was great having you on, man. If you could tell everybody where they can find you, we'll.
All right, cool. Thanks. Bye. I'm gonna go order a pizza.
Nice to know you. Goodbye.
Ooh, an Incubus fan. That's awesome.
Cool. Awesome. Well, you're entitled to your opinion, sir, and we respect that. There will be a great amount of people rejoicing to hear that you will eat some pineapple on your pizza.
Now they know that we do not filter guests by their preference on that question.
We let one slip through. Somebody didn't do their pre-screening job. Error night.
Man. Yeah.
Won't let you live that one down.
I mean, his stream's so fun, though, man. I forgot to ask. Ugh.
Well, now that you know a little bit more about our guest, a quick announcement this week. If you're in our Discord, we did some pruning, if you will. Trim some of the channels down to make it more accessible, kind of consolidate where people can find conversation. Namely, we've just retained a lot of the console or platform-specific LFG channels, eliminated a lot of the clan-specific channels because they weren't being utilized as much anymore. So, and then a couple other things moving around here or there, nothing major, but you might notice that. And if you're still active in Destiny and you're listening to this podcast, you probably are. You might have a little bit better chance of linking up with people if you go to that platform-specific channel. So go check it out. Jump back in the Discord. There's still plenty of active players playing. We're just trying to do a better job of connecting them.
Yes. We always strive to have as few of channels as possible, but still be able to accomplish.
We have like these ebbs and flows where we're like, let's add this channel and this channel and this channel, and we get everybody on board, and then eventually there's specific people who just cannot take it anymore. Too many channels, and it just grates them, and then they see their moment. They start riling everybody up. They're like, kill all the channels.
Gotta go.
We gotta get rid of this channel. So that happened again.
Well, yep. And the best part about it is, like Cyborg said, it will create higher traffic, more traffic in fewer channels. So easier to chat with each other.
That's the idea. Consolidate. Yep. And one other thing I wanted to be sure to mention, we're going to be participating in a stream to help raise mental health awareness called the Saint 14 Project, put on by members of the Destiny community. 2 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. That's Saturday the 10th. If you'll come by, I think the actual stream itself, it's a 12-hour stream, starts at 12 p.m. Eastern. A bunch of great people from the Destiny community are participating, but I'll be on possibly with AER0KNIGHT and friends, 2 p.m. Eastern. Come on by. We'll be talking about mental health, recounting some stories of different things that we've experienced and others experienced in our lives that we want to share. And would love to get your support. So come by. It's twitch.tv/Saint14Project. Or you can drop in on our Twitter. We'll have information up that you'll be able to see where we'll retweet it all. How about some news this week, boys? There's plenty of it.
Holy smokes.
Oh, yes.
We invited you on a few weeks ago, Captain McFly, but we didn't realize we were going to have so much to talk about. This is great.
Yes.
Lots of good stuff. Storm.
Quite timely.
Well, let's kick it off. We'll keep it in time with This Week at Bungie. This week at Bungie deployed an update to Destiny 2 1.1.2, which we'll discuss coming up here, which brought Armor Masterworks and raid mods, among other things. We'll go through the patch notes. We also saw part 2 of the Fall of Osiris webcomic series. Did you guys get a chance to check that out?
I am like 3 or 4 pages in. I have not been able to completely.
It's not too long. You're almost done.
I haven't yet. I haven't. I've been meaning to. I mean to.
It's short and sweet.
It seems longer when you read it on your phone and you just go through each scene, which is pretty cool though.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yep,
it's cool.
I can see the appeal for digital comics. Most of the stuff I have are trade paperbacks, so I'm still used to like having the physical comic. But I can see the appeal doing it, on your phone. Like that's how I read the first issue. And it was awesome. And it's one of those things where I want more. I want more of this, much more. Please give it to me. I would go to my local comic shop and buy them all. I'd buy all of them.
Here's my only caveat. So when you read this, I want to know what you guys think about it. The ending almost makes it seem like it wraps up the story. I'm certainly hoping that's not it, because it didn't go very far this episode. I'm just going to spoil it for you guys. So they didn't say anything about issue 3. I really hope there's an issue 3, because
I just assumed
if there's not, it's going to fall really flat. So we'll see.
I figured it would continue in perpetuity.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just the way they wrote it. There wasn't like a to be continued, if that makes sense to you. I'll let you guys read it and you guys go check it out. See what you think. But I'm hoping for more meat in this story, and we'll see if they put out a new one next month.
I did read far enough in, trying to fit it in throughout the day, that it's just funny to hear like the speaker and Osiris interact. Like it's like I just don't.
Speaker's at first, full of it, huh?
Yeah, I know.
It's arrogant dude.
Yeah, part of me's like, I did not think that's how. Well, okay, yeah. Maybe.
I think if anything we've learned from this is how much we didn't know about the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really haven't learned that much new about Osiris or Ikora or anything. Maybe we will, but the speaker is definitely...
fingers crossed.
Yeah. One thing I did notice is that you see a Shax with an intact horn on his helmet.
Oh, so that kind of gives like some perspective on how far back you're really going.
Yeah. Yeah, Ikora mentions in the comic it's been decades since this occurred. Not centuries.
So kind of, I guess, like, do we know when Shax lost his horn? Was that at Twilight Gap, or was that at
that's my guess, is because they kind of talk and it seems like they're dating it before Twilight Gap. So my guess is Twilight Gap. But they never really, they've never said specifically anywhere in the lore when it's happened and what happened. I'd love to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just one of those little details about the universe.
I want like a Saint 14 moment, where like, he like smashed his head into a captain or something like that. Did he smash his head into a captain or an Archon? I can't remember.
It was Kel.
It was a Kel. Okay.
Yes.
I want something like that with Shax. Like he like whips his head back, or he like does a shoulder charge into somebody and just smashes his horn into it. And like the horn like is like the killing blow or something. Gosh, that'd be so sick. And could you imagine like that could be like if they ever brought back artifacts, like you could find Shax's broken horn.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be so
really
sick,
cool.
man. Like have it be a Titan, like a Titan exotic artifact, and it gives you like extended shoulder charge distance or something like that.
You're getting me too excited, man.
Oh, that'd be so good.
That would be really cool.
Oh, that would be sick.
I like it. Bring back artifacts.
I know.
So further ahead in the TWAB, we saw this, the day before on Twitter as well. But as promised, they delivered the development roadmap.
Yay!
Listing out between season 2, the rest of season 2, and up to the beginning of season 3, which is great.
Information is good. Thank you, Bungie.
Information good.
Information good.
Very
Details
key point of information that was left off. Elliot Gray, one of the graphic designers at Bungie, admitted, he said, I left this off the infograph. That expansion 2 will be released along season 3 in May. In case you missed that. So, hot take, this development roadmap is bittersweet for me, guys. Mm-hmm. Interested to see what you think about it. It's got great amount of information. It's got a lot of things to look forward to. Mm-hmm. The timeline is tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't quite understand.
I'm not saying that
the staggering of the timeline.
Yeah, I'm not saying that in the tense of like they should just give it to me now. But when you see it laid out in black and white, it's like, oh man, you mean I gotta wait till May to get what I really want?
Yeah,
it is weird.
So far away.
It does, and the crazy thing is, like, I immediately saw on Twitter, like, some people wanting some of the things in March, and it's like, I forget. I think it was one of the Bungie team members that said tomorrow is February 1st. So it's like, it does seem so far away just because it's our favorite game and we want all these things. And
right. And February's a short month.
Grand scheme of things is not that far away.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
We want all these things now.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, it comes from maybe some place of salt or resentment or, anger. But like, I think the core origin of people's gripes is because they love this game. They want
comes
to
from a place of love.
Exactly. It is a place of love. We all love this game, and we want this to be the game that it can be, and we know it can be because we saw it happen in D1. The majority of us have stuck it out until then, and we know how to be patient to a degree. We've had to do it before, and it's one of those things like, yeah, I understand. And also, too, I'm not a game developer, so I don't know what it looks like on their end, the approval process they have to go through with Xbox, with PlayStation, with Blizzard, to get everything done, to get the right boxes checked, and to go through cert and all that. That could be the reasoning for it, and I could see that being a reason for maybe the consoles, because it's two completely different ecosystems, and so you got to please two very different people, or two different just ways of doing things.
Right.
But it's at the same time, you're like, oh my goodness. And I guess this kind of like begs the question, would you prefer having all this done in one big swoop, or are you happier having this done staggered like this and knowing how it's going to be staggered? Or would you rather have this all done March 27th, or would you rather have this stretched out through May? And I'm not touching the stuff that's coming in season 3. I'm saying like the stuff for the end of February and the end of March. Have that all smack March.
Yeah. Well,
I don't have a problem with it being staggered and them doing what they, they're going to push out implementation. They're push out improvements as they can be implemented. But
right.
I think it's just tough to look at coming, we basically in October, November, the player base identified that there was a lot that we wanted. And it's taken us until February to get to where there's even a timeline to see those things happen. So it's just when you look at the grand scheme of things, we're talking about an 8 to 9 month period for them to bring us back to Destiny 1.5. That's how people feel.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Is there's kind of two layers here. Is that and we've hit on it on previous episodes. Veteran Destiny players right now are feeling like you said, McFly, we have the patience because we've done this already. The thing is, for all of us, is that we hoped with Destiny 2 we wouldn't have to do this again. And I feel like they're learning again some valuable lessons, and we can all, hope that we won't have to do this again with Destiny 3. But with that said, I feel like they're implementing things on a way quicker pace than they did with Destiny 1. And then
absolutely
the bigger
100%.
picture too is at least for me, the success here is the communication that we've had since the state of post, and that they told us they were going to do things like this. And to get a roadmap like this, if we can set aside the going through this again, like I think many have at this point. What
it is what it
they're
is
doing
at this
here
point. You're either going to stick around,
right, exactly,
or keep an eye on it,
right.
come back when you decide you want to come back, and they're doing what they said they were going to do. And this development roadmap here, be it painful to wait for some of these things for a few months, it is just a few months. And the fact that we got this nice, beautiful planned out chart here, even with asterisk, this may get pushed back. This is a big step, continued step in the right direction.
It's fantastic to know what to expect.
Right. And also know, hey, if things go well, this could make it.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that we would like to make it into this update or into this deadline. But if it doesn't, you can maybe expect it to maybe come later. It's on our minds, but it's a reach goal. But at least they're saying this is a stretch. Like Nightfall Strike unique rewards, for an example, for the end of the February proposed update.
Yeah, that one piqued my interest.
Me too, man. I loved. I don't know if I don't think I saw specifically. I may have blown past it when I was reading through. Is that going to be what we had with Strike specific loot, like the Imago loop? And
this is the first time they've brought this up.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
That we've seen this. They haven't even planted that seed of what that could be. So,
right.
I guess that's what we have to assume is that would be a version of that.
Right. That would be my assumption as well. It would maybe be each Nightfall or each strike that would be in the Nightfall rotation maybe has a chance at a unique reward. That alone, good Lord, I would totally go do Nightfalls again for that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, 100%. Especially
talking about that,
especially if they're fun.
Yeah.
Why don't you?
What are some of the things you guys are most excited to see on this list? What are you looking forward to?
Go ahead, McFly.
Oh, geez. Okay, so for me, what I've liked about Destiny is the Crucible, especially Destiny 1. Destiny 2 Crucible is a very different beast. I personally enjoyed adjusting to the more team-based game. My background is, with shooters, is in Cal and TWL, online leagues and things like that. I loved strategizing with squads to figure out strategies, nade throw spots and things like that. So I'm used to having to say, okay, I need a battle buddy or I need somebody that's at least within eyesight of me to help support me or things like that. So I enjoyed the transition from D1 to D2 Crucible. Yeah, but that's just me. That's me. It's my own personal view. I know a lot of the other more vocal PvP leaders within the Destiny community did not like the change. And I understand their reasoning for the change. I'm not at their level, but at the same time, I enjoyed the change. I enjoyed it. I think 4v4 is perfect for Destiny. 6v6 felt a little too big. It's why I love Trials so much. I loved 3v3. It felt just balanced enough in terms of space and room to be a beast. With 6, too many beasts in such a tight spot. There was just too much going on. 4v4 was, I think, a nice compromise. But anyway, I'm looking forward to ranked Crucible. That is one of the things I'm most excited about. I know it's going to be a little bit until we get it, but I'm looking forward to that probably the most because that is something I will love to grind. And I have guys from my community, guys from my Destiny clan that will want to grind that out with me, both in the competitive one and the more casual ranking as well. Much like Overwatch, people like, all right, new season, time to get my ranking done. I think that has the potential to infuse some new life into Destiny, especially because I feel like what gave Destiny 1 legs was the PvP community. We need to kind of, or not
the
we,
gaps between content.
Exactly. And so especially with the gaps between content. And so by providing something that will be engaging and something that is worth pursuing, and also a quick way to see who's good, or these studs or pub stomping, and all of a sudden they come against some unknowns but are very high ranked, and they're like, wow, who's this person? I don't know. It would create this I don't know. It would be a very fun thing to see. I'm not sure how I feel about Iron Banner 6v6. That is something, when I saw that, it's like, the way the maps are structured, they built these maps on a 4v4 mindset.
Right.
And I
got a great comment on that.
Okay, go for it.
I ran across a post on Crucible Playbook, discussing Iron Banner moving to 6v6, and a Crucible designer showed up, Adam W3D. You can look him up on Twitter. And he said, "We designed the maps originally for 6v6. In the last 6 months or so of development, we retrofitted and resized them modestly to better accommodate the late switch to 4v4. But still, the maps on average are still ever so slightly larger than the average D1 release map. They play well for 6v6. I was like, whoa, okay.
Wow.
Because I had this, we brought this up before. We had the same concern. Like, I'm sure that they're going to play test them, but how do they play 6v6?
Right.
And apparently they originally played great.
It's funny because when we talked about it on the show, I was really surprised that I did not think we would ever see 6v6.
When that was announced, we were both like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
now, I will say, when I
know?
saw Iron Banner on here 6v6,
that makes the most sense, though.
Yeah. My immediate reaction was like, okay, if you're going to do 6v6, do it once a month in Iron Banner.
Do it so you can have bigger teams and more people connecting. Like, that was a complaint we had, was that Iron Banner was always a great social aspect of the game because you could get a group of 6 and you could swap people in and out, and 4v4 really limits that.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yep, totally.
I'm really excited about that one in particular.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see. I mean, the way that they presented it on this roadmap, I mean, it seems like that's where the only place we'll see 6v6, at least initially.
Well, and who knows, because they also throw out weekly Crucible playlists, so maybe
maybe there'll be a weekly 6v6. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know what they would call it. Maybe they'll get its own specific, name, like game type or something.
Sace.
Crucible Sace.
I just want to hear Shaq yell Sace.
That'd be excellent.
That'd be
excellent. Anything else getting your juices flowing on there, McFly?
Quitter penalties.
Ah, really?
Yes, especially in the competitive playlist.
That makes sense.
Because I love Countdown. Countdown was a mode I loved in the D2 beta. All I wanted to do was just play Countdown all night with my friends. It's like, I love Countdown, especially coming from a lot of fun. Coming from like a Call of Duty background, playing Search and Destroy or Counter-Strike, either plant the bomb or defend. I love it. It's so good. It's fun. The matches are not very long, and it was very compelling gameplay. I was like, if this is the future of Crucible, I'm all for it. And I wish Trials would just be only Countdown. I think that's where it lends itself to be.
With that, but AER0KNIGHT won't buy it.
Hey, I'll buy it right now until they patch Survival. At least the current state of it.
Yeah, never really been a fan of that mode. Never really cared for it.
That is something I'm surprised that we have not seen them discuss.
Yeah, I think there's just so much else going on.
Yeah, there definitely is.
There's a lot of plates.
Like, as soon as things settle and people return and they're content and they're having their hero moments, they'll be like, wait a second, that's right, Survival's broken right now.
Well, it's tough big because as influential and important as Trials of Osiris was in D1, unfortunately the participation rate in D2 is really low, and that might be a product of the game, but if I'm the developer, I'm going to fix the core problems that may impact the gameplay, and then maybe take a look at Survival, right?
Right.
Definitely. I agree. Yeah, it's one of those things like, do you want to put a Band-Aid on a paper cut, or do you want to patch the bullet wound? Like,
you want to pull a bullet out the wound and then put the...
Yeah, it's like, go for the big thing first, go for the things that are going to hit the most player base possible.
Making all these, weapon, ability, sandbox changes, exotic armor passes, like, it's almost smart for them to wait and see how those modes shake out, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the reason why I wanted penalties to be implemented is just because for me, whenever sometimes, whether I'm streaming or if I'm playing offline, when I do competitive, just because I want the chance to do Countdown, the moment somebody leaves, you're probably not going to get somebody brought back into your game. You're instantly at a disadvantage. It's now 4-on-3, which then usually ends up snowballing into a 4-on-2 and then a 4-on-1. And it's like, okay, this can't be okay. If you're electing to play the competitive playlist, you're in it to
stick
maybe
around.
either be a little sweaty or you know that it's going to be, it's going to require some effort here. And if you're going to leave and, choose to leave, there should be a penalty. And I think that they did that with Overwatch? I know they do it with League of Legends. To where it's like, okay, you can either join back in the game that you left and finish that game, or you cannot continue in another competitive game until that game concludes. And if you continue to do that, then it builds. It's like, okay, you can't come back into the competitive playlist for the next half hour, next hour, 5 hours, and it just snowballs the more you keep doing it. And so that way, there's incentive to not do it, to stick it out. Whether it's like, all right, whatever, even if I just go, don't do this, but just go suicide just to, hurry it along. But at the very least, just stay in the game. Don't leave. Because, the way they have it structured with the matchmaking, it takes forever. And you're very lucky if somebody fills your spot in a competitive game.
For sure.
Well, Arrow, is there anything in here you're stoked about? One or two things?
I am interested. I like that the Nightfall scoring and the high score tracking that they had already mentioned is coming in February. I do love the fire team members on the destination map. It doesn't take much.
That's
to
a
please
good
me.
one.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Especially if you're doing patrols, like the patrol run for tokens for faction rallies or whatever.
Just simple, probably maybe not simple on their side, but on our side, a simple quality of life thing that's just going to be nice to have.
Huge quality of life. Especially it's like, wait, where'd you go? Which one? Which fast travel did you do? It's like, this one.
Yeah, and I'm pumped for the heroic strike modifiers to come back in March.
Yeah.
Yep. And of course the sandbox changes, which we're going to talk a little bit about here later in the TWAB. Hamrick tells us quite a bit, more than I thought we were going to get. The quitter penalties for sure. Nightfall challenge cards piqued my interest. As well, and May is pretty much we're hitting full.
May's the
mode.
big boy stuff.
Yeah, which I gotta ask you, man. Did you think the prestige mode was the interesting topic for Eater of Worlds? It's kind of weird, especially when we got confirmation that the DLC is gonna drop in May with season 3.
It's pretty far out.
Yeah, that's so far for a prestige.
It's strange.
It seems like it should March would make sense. The end of March.
We should have it in February if
honestly,
we stay on track with what we've seen in the past. So there's obviously got to be a reason for it. I think maybe
there's a mechanic change. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they did bring up on Twitter that they're going to talk about why soon here, but it was just essentially acknowledging it and saying,
I guess it's going to be weird to get a new layer
right after and then, at the same time you get a prestige mode.
Prestige drops,
right.
So it will be, and it doesn't give us much to chew on in the meantime,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. That's a good point. I can't skip over either.
Maybe we'll get more prestige rewards or something, or maybe that's getting tweaked. Maybe that's why it's getting pushed back. Maybe, please.
Yeah. For listeners, for you guys, we're hitting on some of the main ones for us. Definitely go check out the TWAB and take a look at this yourselves if you haven't yet. But I can't skip over multi-emotes. I cannot wait to be able to map 4 different emotes.
Please, I know.
I can't wait.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be cool.
We've been asking for them since the Taken King came out.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, okay, guys, I probably have spent I've spent maybe less than $10 in this entire franchise at Eververse. You allow me to map maybe 20, but I don't think so. Maybe you allow me to map 4 emotes. I'm gonna go probably purchase some emotes.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Especially since like the introduction of Eververse, it's like, okay, there are a lot of really good emotes. Give me a chance to use more of them at once, please. Come on, because some of them are very good. They're very fun, and especially like with D2 with the introduction of exotic emotes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then to stack them, I'm sure there'd be interesting ways to do your own little dance,
or like like chain it together, and like that. I think that just opens up so much for machinima and for things like that too. Like so much creativity could be done with it, and I'm looking forward to that too, mainly just because I just want to see what people are able to create with it, just from a fan of just the community sense. I want to see what people do with it.
Yeah. I was hoping a bullet point on the May right after the multi-emote was that the bow emote was coming back, but they didn't put that one on there, so didn't quite make a bullet point. I don't know why they took that away from me. That was
arguably the most
emote.
important item on this list is push till May, and that's vault space increase.
Yes.
At least we know it's coming.
Yeah, yeah. And it's going to be 50, though, is what they hinted at before, which it may be more. I don't know why. I haven't even went to clean out my vault yet. I just the other day, I realized I had a few duplicates in there, and
mine's pretty messy.
Got rid of them, but I still have like 30 or 40 slots. So I don't know if I've just been a little more picky with Destiny 2, or because I always had a vault space problem in Destiny 1. But
oh, absolutely. Especially with new content too. It's like I'm hanging on to all my raid guns, all my raid armor. None of that's going anywhere.
Yep. There's probably so many Guardians screaming right now, but I don't know why. I have like 40 slots still on my main console, PS4, my main character. I don't know why.
My vault is full currently.
Mine is full as well. It's one of those things where it's like, this may be good someday. Stash. These perks look good. Let's see if it gets good at some point. Stash.
Yeah. I'm about to go through it and get rid of them.
Yeah.
But actually, I take that back. I don't know. I might hold on to them until March now. Just possibly. I'm just sitting here thinking about it.
Yeah, just thankful for Dim, though. Just makes it nice and easy just to be able to manage it. It makes life a lot easier. Even though it's a mess, at the very least, I can at least see my mess. It's kind of like, with putting laundry away in my home. My wife's like, it's just a mess. It's like, but I know my mess. I know where things are in my mess.
Don't touch any of it.
Exactly. Don't touch it. I know where it is.
For sure. Yep. Yeah, there's some good stuff on here for sure.
There is, and there's a lot that didn't get mentioned.
I don't want to skip over faction rally improvements either. I'm interested. I mean, we've all said like some of the cool things they could do with faction rally, so I'd be interested to see. I can't wait to see if they're going to add some layers to that as well.
Like, don't drip out your guns when it's a new content drop.
Yeah. I'm thinking more of like system things they could do. Like, I always go back to Mag, like how in Mag you could see like, whether it was fully live, in time, who was winning the war, it was cool that you could see who was like winning at any given moment. Like if they had a board in the tower that kind of showed, like
that
even
would
if it
be
wasn't like
awesome.
exact, wouldn't that be cool, man? That would like create so much drive. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so fun. And also too, like one thing I can't remember who I heard talk about it. It could have been Say No to Rage or somebody else, but I loved this idea where there could be, with the scoreboard, but imagine when you pledge your faction, you could take points away from the other factions. Like, go do patrols and like, this could be like, hey, like I pledged New Monarchy. You could get like a special either a quest like, hey, go disrupt some dead orbit shipments or something like that. And that could do like negative 25 points or something like that. Or in the Crucible, like, not maybe say like, okay, you can only matchmake with New Monarchy or something like that. I think that's going to that will just create a living hell as far as like queuing up for games. But if you, let's say the person on the opposing team, in your Crucible match, like let's say, still saying I'm New Monarchy. If I shoot a guy that is, and take him out, that's a future War Cult person, maybe it's like 0.1 points or something like that. Or if my team is on the winning side, the teams that are on the losing side, like let's say it was a full team of Dead Orbit, Dead Orbit just got like -5 because they lost or something like that. And maybe there's like a bonus, like if your whole team is the same faction and you win, maybe there's like a victor bonus for something like that, or like a faction rally, win, increased rewards for your final score or things like that. That stuff I would love to see.
So many things they could do, yeah.
Yeah.
With the faction rallies, just to make them more interactive and more of a choice, when you choose and the different layers that they could add to it to make you invested in that faction for sure.
Give us faction wars. Like that's kind of what it would be. This would be like making it more competitive, but still something that could be approached casually as well. I think you would appease a very wide range of the player base here. You would appease the very hardcore, and then people, like my father-in-law, who only gets to play Destiny maybe once every 2 weeks. but still logs in, every week to make sure he gets his clan engrams and things like that because he doesn't want to get left behind. But like, someone like him, he would get a chance to still, kind of have like a fun night and feel like he's contributing and helping his faction. Exactly. Like, hey, I'm doing something. I'm going to go do patrols because he loves patrol. It's his favorite mode. And so to give him a chance to like, okay, I disrupted, 5 future war cult shipments. Hell yeah. I got like about 100 points for my team. I did something. I helped with my faction rally. I helped my faction. That'd be awesome. That'd be great.
I like that. Yeah, definitely. I like that. Well, plenty of stuff. Moving on to the next part of the TWAB, we got a visit from Mr. Josh Hamrick. I believe he is what is his official title? Is he Sandbox? Design lead for the Sandbox? Yeah. We're going to have to scoot through this stuff, guys. We're going to have a 4-hour episode tonight.
Yep.
So
Buckle up.
He told us he told us he'd be back. And did he come back? We've got all kinds of bullet points here. And I'm really I was excited and shocked and surprised at a lot of this stuff that they are looking to implement to the Sandbox change, possibly coming up in March. Some things may be pushed out further than that. It's pretty early right now. But, I mean, we want to go through some of these bullet points. You guys have ones that stuck out to you. For me, there were many that talked about player mobility, and just
I think
say
that's the biggest.
Yeah. And to
Call
look
it
at this,
the Go Fast update.
Yeah, exactly. they're coining it the Go Fast update, and
maybe the return of Titan skating.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like like for the first bullet point here, all 3 glides, catapult, strafe, lift, they've been returned and buffed to make more unique and faster. Mobility stat is basically being tweaked to where its range expanded has been completely retuned as well. In short, everyone gets faster at the high end, and the high end is higher. I love that they're revisiting the mobility stat because I basically look to have 0 or 1 mobility right now.
It's such a nebulous stat, though, much like it was in D1. It's one of those things like it only affected you when you're not in sprint. It's your run speed when you're not in sprint. Yeah. So it's like,
which can help in PvP, but I still don't. I'm jumping around and stuff, especially, thinking about Destiny 1 days. So like, it's cool and it could be effective, but I like what they're doing. I mean, they need to make it to where it's you can tell when you have it. Like, it needs to be more substantial. Give you a reason to put points into it,
Right. Like, I should be able to know right away, oh, wow, this is what a maxed out mobility feels like. This feels good. Maybe I should sacrifice some resilience or some recovery for the sake of being faster, or, I can maybe... I don't know what else he would do besides just, moving and strafing faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and then even the next one, the player's ground speed cap has been increased, allowing for faster total movement speed regardless of how you may get there. I mean, they're just flat out increasing movement speed.
Everybody go fast.
Exactly.
I want to go fast
update. I mean, it's fantastic. And then you move on and, they're showing some attention to the Arc Strider, making some changes for you guys. And that's super because you've definitely told them about needing some tweaks there, feeling a little bit more powerful. And then buffing several weapon types, including hand cannons, pulse rifles, snipers, shotguns. Like, it's like, okay,
supers recharge faster.
Yeah, supers recharge faster. Like, it's
that's the one I'm curious to see. I want more details on that. Does that mean, okay, I have a chance at getting 2 supers in a match? Or someone who's average or below average, are they guaranteed a super? Like, just for the sake of time, will they get it? Because it's
supers
one of those...
are such a weird thing too. Because like we got 3 of them in Destiny 1. We get 1 of them now, so it makes you really choose. But then you don't get it till the end of the game. So then I saw a cool idea. Or we had an email on the show. Maybe somebody said, maybe what if you got everybody started with a super, and then you would hold on to it until the right time. And it's like, well, that would work sometimes, but not really. So it's like, recharging faster is great because I think a lot of people want that. They want to
Uh-huh.
feel powerful. They want to feel powerful as often as possible. You know, in
Yep.
Destiny 1, we talked about abilities, and some of us talked about abilities and supers. You know, having 3 of them in one game seems like a little much, but it
Yeah.
still seems like there's something. Recharging faster is great. It sounds like it's going to speed everything up. It's going to be really cool.
Bringing back
it's gonna,
the power fantasy a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to change the team shooting habits that everyone has because there's going to be more options for you to do things, I think.
There's a way to
But-
disrupt the team shooting as well, especially
Exactly,
if it's a range
yeah.
super.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
bunch up anymore.
But I feel like there's still something they could do with supers, at least in the competitive playlist, that, you know, would make it interesting other than just recharging faster. I don't know what it is. And you know, we like them to do things and they like to do things across the
Sure.
entire game. So, you know, it limits them on what they can do. But recharging faster is fine. I think a lot of people are going to be just fine with that.
What if you had something? It's something that's an asset that's already within the game. You know, when you're recovering your lost supers and you have these pools of light. What if, much like, you know, heavy has like its set spots, what if you have somewhere dead center, right in the open, but like at whatever the B capture point is, just an arbitrary, you know, neutral zone that is highly visible from a lot of angles. If you go in there, instant supercharge, but you have to do a use timer or something like that, or a charge up, but then instant super, all cooldowns
interesting.
turned off. Like now your grenades are recharged, your melee's recharged, your super's up right then. But it's something that is open to anybody and everybody. It's open season. You have to fight for it. You know,
That's interesting. It almost could be like a King of the Hill type thing.
right,
You know,
exactly.
you
But
get-
like have
you
it
get-
be an exclusive thing or be within maybe
And you
King
could
of the
only,
Hill,
you
maybe
know-
maybe it's a Rumble thing. I don't know, because Rumble,
Yeah.
I guess, supposedly may make a comeback. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. You could tweak it to where, you know, it would only charge one Guardian's super, not your entire team. Maybe you said that, but you know, so then you're trying to get your team captain in there, you know, and
Right, or
protect
like
the
your
area.
team slayer or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I think
exactly.
just for the one guardian that captures it, it's theirs. Like give them like
Yeah.
an overshield, but they still have their health or something like that, so they have time to get out or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that. That's an interesting idea. The other one in here that really stood out to me, I think I said it out loud a couple times after I read it, was the power ammo. If you get killed with power ammo, your teammate drops it, and you have 30 seconds to pick it up.
I like that.
That's really cool. Now, reading it again, is it you can only get it from your teammate, or can you pick it up from enemies as well?
Available to anyone.
Enemies, yeah, there it is. Okay, yep. Now that's interesting.
Yes.
That changes.
It's D1 vanilla heavy ammo settings.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I love
Basically,
that.
what they're trying to do is just bring more reasons and more opportunities to use your power weapons, for sure.
I can use a fusion the whole game if I time it right.
Mm-hmm.
It could be done. That's what
Oh,
when I
yeah,
hear that,
yeah.
that's what I hear. I'm like, I could do main ingredient the entire time. Ah, that sounds so
And you know,
good.
I think a lot of people reading this that have been around since Destiny 1 days are probably thinking at each bullet point, it's like, well, you know, this sounds a lot
Familiar.
like Destiny 1. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that's a good thing. I think, you know, we said before, if they can find a hybrid between the two, I think we're hitting the sweet spot. You know, like I don't want 3 supers in one game, but if you can find that sweet spot of many different layers of the Crucible, I mean, this could be interesting. But you know, I always think about they're doing so many things just in this just little briefing of a bullet pointed list in the TWAB months before it's going to happen. I just wonder, like, when it releases, and that's a lot of changes, you know, like
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
even then,
It's gonna
some
be
of them don't
exciting,
even have
but-
values at all. They're just a statement.
Yeah.
Like much like the
Like,
super one, it's like, okay, you're adjusting it, but what does that really look like?
Yeah. It's like you guys are play testing it and we trust you and that's fantastic. But when millions of us get our hands on it, what is that Crucible going to look like?
Right.
But
exactly.
hey, we'll take it. It mixes things up,
Mhm.
you know.
Got to start
and-
somewhere.
Buffs to pulse rifles. Thank you.
Yeah, gosh, just
yeah,
for
Let's hope that happens.
yeah, pulses were fun,
Mm-hmm.
and hand cannons
Very
too. Honestly, at least hand cannons on console. I know on PC they're actually, from what
Yeah, they
I've
feel
heard,
amazing on PC.
yeah. I personally haven't played it. I've only played on Xbox One and PS4, but I've heard hand cannons on PC are wonderful. I'd love to see hand cannons usable and viable on console, because to me that was my. I loved being a space cowboy. I love the idea of hand cannons. It's a high risk, high reward. It rewards precision. It rewards player skill, and gosh, they're so damn cool. Hand cannons.
Yeah, hand cannons
awesome.
are always my go-to on console. That's the thing I always used to say when we were talking way back when we knew or had learned that it was coming out on PC. That I always hoped, like, content, things like that didn't differentiate between platforms, and obviously that's not happening. But the version of that we're getting, kind of in my eyes, is like that the Crucible feels a little more tuned on PC, and I am the same. Like my main, I play on PC, but my main is still PS4, and I do hope that they can make the guns as similar as possible on each.
Yep.
I know it's a totally different thing. It's mouse and keyboard. It feels great on there. The bloom, I mean, it's all different. They tweak the entire game from ground up as well for PC, but I do hope whatever they need to do, they can make hand cannons feel as crispy on the console, as close as possible.
Right, exactly. At least
we didn't know any different
similar.
with Destiny 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So,
well,
anyways,
I'm pretty excited about reverting the changes to shoulder charge.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
thank you for
that's
mentioning
pretty
that.
interesting.
Thank you, Cyborg.
They are recognizing that it was an unnecessary.
Yeah,
It
we've heard your
was
feedback.
so dumb. I don't know why that was even done.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Well,
like, ugh.
they talk about why, and press for time. We don't have to get too deep into it, but
Right. Yep.
They wanted to discourage using it as a movement mode, but realized that was fun to do that, and they didn't need to balance against it. They say, in the future, we want to embrace the state of gameplay atoms like that and balance around it, not against it. Which I
the old
like.
skating.
I think that is a wise move. The wise move.
Yeah, and they bring up snipers. Say for you snipers out there, because I am definitely a sniper, but I'm not doing a lot of sniping in Destiny 2, and they have heard the complaints about sniper flinch. They're doing things in this
they found a
sandbox
bug.
change. Yes, they found a bug. They're implementing some things that should make snipers maybe feel a little better, but they don't think they're going to hit the deadline for March to fix this bug that they found from preventing them to be able to fully do what they want to do with snipers. So that's interesting when you read that kind of stuff. Yeah, you don't realize. I mean, I think they say they have to basically take a look at every sniper.
Oh, jeez.
With this bug that they found. Yeah, they've got to do deep changes to the art of each of the individual snipers in the game. That's crazy.
Ouch.
Ouch. I don't envy that person. Make an intern do that. It sounds awful.
Yeah. But I love that they're talking about it, and I can't wait to see the finished product, because snipers were always my go-to, and I'm not using them a ton right now. It's more of like a challenge for me if I want to get one out, just to see if I can do anything with it against what everyone else has.
Yeah. How good are my thumbs today?
Right. Exactly. So, but
That's
anyways.
a big one. And to wrap it up, he discusses as these changes continue to solidify, we'll have more to say. The next items on our agenda after these changes include the mod system rework, which we plan to use to buff ability cooldowns, and the exotic balance pass. We're also continuing to evaluate Destiny 2's weapon slot system and how all the different types of weapons of Destiny fit into the game, how they're being played, and what we can do to improve that experience. Expect to hear more from us about that in a future update. So, tons of great insight into their plans. I think they're going to make some awesome changes that can make the game more fun, more replayable. I think I know for a fact a lot of competitive and hardworking, instead of using the word try hard, players of the Crucible are going to be excited about some of these changes. Hopefully that will give them an experience that they can enjoy. Like McFly, like you mentioned, like I'm not at the level of play where I can complain about not having enough mobility, you know, like to make big plays and do all this. Like I had moments, but it doesn't affect me the same way it affects a top tier player, you know?
Exactly.
So,
like I like to be competitive. I like to, you know, get in there and go toe to toe. And we've played and done well against some of the very, you know, top tier people within the community. You know, sometimes we get lucky, but at the same time, you know, I'm not going to consistently be at that level. Yeah, but I'm excited to see those changes as well, because I agree too. It's one of those things where we need everybody to be on board, to be positive, you know, vocal evangelists to bring everybody back.
Well, and the hope that this provides is and what a lot of the skilled Crucible players discuss is they want a higher skill ceiling and a bigger skill gap, because that gives them something to work on. It gives them the ability to you know, to stand out and make their big plays and really perform. And so a lot of them have identified things like mobility and stuff of that nature that allows them to utilize their thumb skill and their play skill to be better at Crucible. So, you know, I welcome changes like that, both to aspire to play at that level and to see other guys do it.
I think at a certain extent as well, you know, just kind of the flip side of what you guys are saying with Destiny 2 Crucible, the way it launched, it did kind of, you know, all tiers of players, you know, in Destiny 1, no matter what your skill level was, you still were able to pull off those heroic moments, you know, those hero moments, no matter whether it was once a month or twice a game, you know, everybody kind of had those moments every now and then. And I think, you know, every skill level of player is kind of filling that a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
To an
exactly.
extent.
Definitely one of those things where you want it to be accessible, but hard to master.
Right. Yeah. So
much
like
the original
it could come all the way down to a triple kill slam, or I don't know, a team wipe with the No Land Beyond. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But, you know, so it's like, those moments just it's okay if everybody has those moments every once in a while. It makes you feel like a superhero.
Absolutely.
So, yep, definitely.
Well, in the couple important things to bring up from the Destiny player support staff, and an issue with XP was identified. There was a fix or a change to XP, basically changing from 160k to 120k XP for an Eververse engram or a rank up. And first they realized that there was an issue that the Bungie.net API was not displaying the correct XP gains and totals. So the numbers reported were off if you were using tools like Destiny Item Manager, things of that nature, to keep an eye on how much XP you actually had. Then players continued to report odd XP earn rates in the game. Then they noticed, so they investigated and found what they called an errant server flag. I have no idea what that means, but it was discovered in the live environment, throttling XP rewards. It sounds like a rogue piece of code out there killing everybody's vibes. So they were able to remove that and resolve the issue. So that's great. Big shout out to the players that keep an eye on that kind of stuff and noticed a problem, because it got resolved pretty fast, improving everybody's experience. There's also an issue with shader previews, with the tooltips automatically changing to display the first page of shaders. There's the Lost Sector throttle, which is changing the throttle timer from 10 minutes to 5 with faction rallies, I believe. They have a hot fix in February, plan to address that. And then they're promising future XP balancing. There additional balancing for Crucible XP rewards are in development, and quick play and competitive playlists will receive an increased XP rewards. Sounds like they're trying to kind of make it time invested balance out a little bit better in the Crucible. So moving on. That was most of the TWAB. Our buddy Dimg stood in for Cosmo, who was out sick this week, and wrote the TWAB. Great job again. And now we can talk about the actual patch this week.
Yes. Which we better scoot through.
Yeah, you want to kick it off? Let's get the highlights.
Yeah, so of course, the Armor Masterworks.
We got preview of that last week, so we know most of what that consists of. I don't think there's any changes.
I don't have one yet, but I haven't played a ton yet, and we're recording early, so hopefully I have one by next reset. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about the raid for a minute? Did you have a chance to jump in, Cyborg, at all?
Man, I had buddies asking me to raid the other night, Tuesday night, and I ended up having to work. Mm-hmm. So I haven't I plan to raid this weekend. I saw a lot of people post, or a number of people post the new Ghost that looks pretty cool, the new exotic Ghost.
Dude. The feeds, the Twitter feed, or at least mine, just ended up with people posting, like, even if they didn't get it, they were posting their friends that got the raid Ghost. People were disappointed if they got it early, but then, like, the first run. But then I had other people, they were saying they ran it twice, they didn't get it, only one of their friends got it, and it just felt like Destiny 1, dude. Like, okay, the chase is there.
Yes,
like,
the hunt is on. Go get it.
Yes. Yeah. Very cool.
I did see a few players voicing some issues with rewards not appearing properly. Some of them going straight to Postmaster, just doing some weird stuff.
Interesting.
I'll see, if that happens to me, but pay attention if you're playing, if you're raiding, if you see any weird reward stuff. Might want to start a Bungie.net thread or something. But out of these changes, I think everything we talked about last week, it pretty much covers. So nothing we haven't seen here. Sandbox stuff. I think there's a couple things on. There's a Eater of Worlds grenade launcher. They changed some perks around on. I have that. I'm going to have to test it out this weekend to see how it plays. Besides that, fixing an issue with Ophidian Aspects, where the Cobra Totemic perk did not function when using weapons with the Quick Draw perk. Didn't know that was broken.
Interesting.
Good job. Another one of those things where like, oh, okay, didn't know, but you fixed it. Good job.
Yay!
Fixed a number of bugs with activities, added some things with challenges, a lot of stuff specifically with Mercury. We mentioned that Lost Sector reward throttle was moved from 10 minutes to 5 as a hot fix. And on and on. Some UI stuff. Just a lot of good bug fixes, quality of life, improvements with rewards, changes, some of that stuff. I'm zooming through this looking for.
Yeah.
They reduced the prices on Boon of the Vanguard and Boon of the Crucible, which are some boosters you can buy in Eververse. Find that interesting. Let's see what else they got. Some problems with some crashes, Lucky Raspberry, blah, blah, blah. Cade now properly acknowledges player accomplishments during Mercury Flashpoint weeks when granting the Flashpoint Ingram, rather than asking the player about the weather on Io. I had this happen, and it made me laugh, and then it made me laugh again when they fixed it.
Kind of like when Saladin just called everybody a hunter.
Yeah, he's like, you'll get him next time, Warlock. And I'm like, but I'm on my Titan. How did you know I'm a Warlock?
How does he know?
How do you know? But yeah, it was, they fit a ton of stuff into this patch. A lot of bug fixes. Yeah. But we discussed a lot of the major stuff last week. What do you think about the new improvements and the new content we've got, Captain McFly?
I love the idea of the raid mods and having stuff that is active only when you raid. I like the idea of having like, okay, this is my raid set. These mods are my raid mods, and this is what I like to run, or this is my, this is my striker set, or this is my solar titan set, or things like that. That creates a reason to grind, to make multiple sets, a reason to keep playing. and to also further enhance the power fantasy. You know, I want to feel like I'm a beast because I've done this raid, you know, X amount of times and things like that. The thing that, I don't know, that it still kind of has just kind of bothered me a little bit is the ability now to buy raid gear on rotation, you know, with tokens and, was it legendary shards? Something like that. I feel like it cheapens the chase, or it cheapens the experience of finally getting that loot. That's just something that I haven't been too big of a fan of. You know, because everybody remembers Vault of Glass. You're trying to get your helmet. Good luck. And then when you finally get it, it's like, it's that next level moment. It's visceral. You remember the day you got it. Very much like Exotics and 3 of Coins. You know, when 3 of Coins came back in D2, that was... that made me so sad. It cheapens the reward time. You know, everybody, at least I would imagine most people within D1, you remember where you were if you were on PlayStation when you got Hawkmoon. Or you remember where you were when you got Galahorn or things like that.
Right.
Don't give us an avenue to where I can say, yeah, I could take that right now. I'll just go buy it because I didn't get it this week. Or I haven't gotten my chess piece for the past 4 weeks. I've got enough tokens and shards, I'll go buy it. No, let me keep going until I get it. And then when I get it, I'm going to be very excited that I finally got this one piece of gear that was missing from my set. Or I just think it looks cool.
Yeah, I think that's the classic battle they have of
catering to the casual player.
Yeah,
Versus
catering to the casual player. Because, I mean, the clan rewards are that as well. You know,
I
it's
know.
like we talked about that forever ago. The clan rewards. I have many raid weapons. Thank you, clan. I've only ran the raid once.
I know.
And it's cool, you know, like I've always been kind of more of a PvP guy as well. But I think there's different ways they could do it. Like clan engram could just give you an engram that gives you loot, not necessarily something from the specific activity. And in this case, you know, at least you got to have tokens, right? Is that right?
Yeah,
Or
it's
no?
tokens, and
Yeah,
I
you
think
gotta-
tokens
at
and
least you
shards.
have
You
some
also
tokens.
have to have completed the raid that week.
Oh,
to
I did
buy
not
the
know
weapons.
that. Okay.
Yeah. So you can only buy stuff if you've had a completion that week.
Okay. But still, at the same time, it's like if I didn't get it, well, then let me try it again after reset next week. You
I
know?
totally get it. And
I
that's,
love the
that's,
chase, but that's also
that's
me
part
too.
of the raid cycle and chase is you're gearing up to get raid armor that has raid perks that make the raid more fun or easier or whatever, and you build that armor as you go through completions and get the full set, and you chase the weapons, get the full set.
Exactly.
And if you get all this stuff for free from clan engrams, or you get it, you can just outright buy it, then you pretty quickly can lose incentive at all to do the content. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
some people
You're
will play
basically
it for
speeding it
fun.
up. Mm-hmm.
Some people will play it for fun, but some people play it to collect. You
Yep.
know?
And then also, with doing that, I mean, you're essentially speeding up your I'm done moment. I've got
Yeah.
everything that I could want because I got it really fast. It's like, ugh, don't do that. I mean, yes, it's a loot-based game. We want to get our stuff. We want to collect, or we want to get the sets, or we want to get a certain weapon or something like that. But, man, you know, either let me get a lucky drop or, you know, I don't know, don't let me just buy it. I don't know. It's one of those things where the chase is part of the end game content because it's supposed to be, you know, the apex content of the title. You know, this is supposed to be what you're striving to ultimately do, is to go after this gear because it's really good in this activity, not only to make your life easier so you can keep, you know, grinding out the gear that you're missing or to help out other people, but also too because it's just really awesome stuff and you kind of want it. And, you know, give me a reason to keep coming back. One of the best reasons is, well, you didn't get it this week. Better luck next week. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I understand, you know, it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing. Do you want to cater to people that are going to be going back every single week because they just love doing Vault of Glass and they really want that helmet and they will not rest until they get the full set? Much like the D1 days, or very much like D2, where you could just have a really good run and your clan also completed the raid and you could get the full set your first week. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough thing, and I don't know what the correct solution is. I just know what I personally would like for me, and just because that's just the kind of gamer that I am. and so it's very focused and very it's my perspective, and I'm sure some other people share my feelings on it.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's double-edged sword, I suppose.
Right.
So what do you think about the Masterworks?
I love Masterworks, and I am so happy that now we can now have it on Armor as well. I wish that
reroll the stats.
I know. I kind of wish that they came together. I think that would have been a much more impactful moment. I want to see more latitude here. I want to see ways where we can now allow more creativity in how we play, to give us more ways to just, try something goofy. I think True Vanguard talked about it a while back in a video or something, but like the ability to say, you know what, I'm just going to see if this works. This seems ridiculous, or on paper, this sounds like it could be really strong. Let's just see what happens. And just to give more opportunities for not just, well, you got more resilience or you got more of this. Well, how about you give something to allow extra effect when you get your Firefly or your Dragonfly perk, when you get the headshot and you get the explosions to come out. Well, maybe add like a small dot afterwards or something if you have the correct masterwork or something like that, or if it's paired with a solar weapon or something like that. Like it creates like a 2 damage tick, much like Thorn, but only for a couple seconds. Things that can create really unique and, I don't know, very fun ways to play. There's a lot that could be done here, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen down the line.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. I really enjoy the Masterworks just at their entry level point. So I can't wait. They've hinted that they're going to do more with them. I can't wait to see what they do. I think we'll get definitely more ways to customize our Guardian, with our weapons and armor, different perks, things to spec into, different stuff like that for sure. Yep. It adds these two systems. That's a good perspective. If they would have released both together, I think it would have been more substantial. Would have seemed more substantial and impactful. That's very true.
Right. It would have been a bigger tentpole.
Yeah. And we have them both now, and it's those systems that instantly add content to everything in the game, just because of the core system regarding, related to the loot. So that's a good thing.
Yep. More stuff to chase is good, especially in a loot game.
Always.
Absolutely. Well, that covered most of the official Bungie news this week. One cool thing I noticed today on Twitter is former Destiny 1 composer Marty O'Donnell did an interview on the Music Respawn podcast, which is a show that focuses specifically on music and video games. And you can go to music, what is it? It's respawnshow.com. They're also on iTunes, and he did an interview about the Music of the Spheres, the infamous Music of the Spheres album, which was finally leaked and released in its entirety on Christmas Day last year. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go listen to it and hear it as a composition, back to back as it was supposed to be released.
Was a hell of a Christmas gift. If you're a fan of Destiny music, which I'm sure most people are, it's beautiful. It's so good.
I was super excited. So he has a really cool interview, and they talk about the entire, story behind the Music of the Spheres and like how he conceptualized it and what his ideas were. And it's really insightful. I got about halfway through today. That's about all the time I had. So I haven't heard the whole thing, but about 45 minutes of what I did listen to, I really enjoyed. So go check it out if you're a fan of music from Destiny and Destiny 1. If you love Marty O'Donnell's work, it's a great bit of insight into his process and what, that history in developing that music was like.
Yeah, very cool. Definitely gonna check that out.
Well, Captain McFly, let me ask you, buddy, how was your reset?
It was pretty good. A lot of it was done offline. I haven't been streaming much Destiny lately, but I have been playing some Iron Banner with some friends and family, and it's been fun. it's been fun just to kind of just get back in there. It feels there. I feel like there hasn't been much change in terms of just the gameplay experience. Solo queuing definitely feels like you're at a disadvantage, much like Iron Banner has been almost since inception. You are definitely, you're very much rewarded for teaming up, and I think that's the intention. It's meant to be a social event or a very team. You will want to have fun grouping up with your friends because you're going to do better, but also too it just lends itself to those fun moments and that water cooler moment the next day, like, oh dude, you remember this? Yeah man, great slam on B, that was sick, and things like that. Got the Scout, the Iron Banner Scout, the Viced Scout. It's very fun. I like the rate of fire. I think it's pretty cool, especially if you land your headshots too. You can really burn somebody down. It's not the best Scout ever, but it's just fun. I like Viced weapons. They're very different. They're very unique. I like the style, and they're very, very fun.
I like them a lot.
But yeah, that's kind of all I've been doing. Is really just some PvP and just getting a chance to play with some family and things like that. Not like on the hardcore grind. Haven't done any raiding. May try to do some before reset, but that's kind of been what my reset's been like.
Yeah, I want to get one in to try to see what some of the new perks are going to bring to the table in the Eater of Worlds section and etc. See how the reward system works out.
Absolutely. I'm just curious too. Like, what's it like?
Yeah. See how it'll enrich it, and then we took like a couple weeks off raiding, so and then people are texting me like, I think I'm getting the itch again.
Yeah, everybody gets the itch at some point.
You might have to scratch that itch again, jump back in because it is fun, especially the Eater of Worlds. What did you think of the lair, McFly? Do you raid a lot?
I do. I've only done it, I think twice. I haven't done it much. Just because I fancy Crucible more. But I did enjoy it. I mean, it's a lot shorter than Crota, so I mean but at the same time, it's fun though. I like the idea of what it is. The design was really fun. I liked the boss fight. It's very dynamic. It's very kinetic. It reminded me a lot of Wrath of the Machine in terms of how mobile everybody is in the room and just the big dance and just how it works. So people that have done previous raids in Destiny probably picked that up very well and were used to the speed. We've definitely taken people through it that is a bit of a learning curve, especially if they didn't really do Wrath of the Machine or never completed Axis at all. But it's a fun raid. I like it, man. I like the whole idea and just the lore behind it, and the fact that we actually get lore within the raid as well. There's actual lines and dialogue with Callus, or who we think is Callus.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it adds to it, and it's something that was just a nice touch. It's great, and I like it that even with the lair, we still get a little bit more, and I like that a lot. And so I think that's a great change. I'm looking forward to whatever comes with subsequent layers that come out, and I'm assuming we'll get one with the next DLC.
That's what they said.
Yeah, so I hope they do, and I'm kind of curious too if we're going to get something, like Taken King or Rise of Iron in the fall, and does that mean we're going to really expand? So. Yeah, do we build on, the Leviathan, or is it more so kind of building on what we saw at the end of the story DLC? Are we going to see that stuff, So but I like it though. It's good. I thought it was fun. I think it's a great step in the right direction. It's very engaging, fun content, and I loved it.
Awesome, man. Eric, how was your reset, buddy? Did you get to jump in anything yet?
I actually not a ton. I did fit in one Iron Banner match, but it was
slacker.
I mentioned
it's early
it
in the week, man.
It is early, man. It's Thursday. So I had the opposite experience, Captain McFly. I mentioned last week I've been jumping in I jumped in a little Crucible. I've been doing a lot of PvE lately, just solo strikes and stuff like that. So I jumped in the Crucible last week, and me and 3 blueberries were just destroying.
Oh,
and then
nice.
I jumped in an Iron Banner match tonight, and I do find it kind of fun to run. I know, right? I'm lucking out. It is kind of fun to run solo Crucible sometimes because I challenge myself to try to stick with a buddy that doesn't know that I'm sticking with him.
Yeah.
And see if I can like pick moments where I can flank or this or that when I'm not even communicating with anybody.
Right.
And I jumped in Iron Banner tonight, that one match that I've fit in this week so far, and it was the same. We won like 90 something to 30. And I picked
That's just
moments
gross.
where like I flanked when the other 3 guys were, and I think I'm just getting lucky. The matchmaking is just on my side right now.
Yeah.
But man, when you win that, those kind of games, it feels so great. Like you want to jump back in every night. And then then you have those nights where it's like the complete opposite, like you mentioned, and you're like, okay, I'm not jumping back in there until I have some of my buddies with me. But anyways, I will say, I'm like torn right now. I love what they've done with Sal, and I love that it's like the other vendors. We can buy the armor because I want a full set of the armor, but I am torn. I went and like emptied my tokens just out of habit already to him, and then I'm like, oh wait, why'd I do that?
Whoops.
I'm not okay. I don't want to do that anymore because now I'm like, I'm torn. I don't know what I want to do. Like I just want to buy this. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm having like that torn moment. Of course, you just want to save them, right? Because you're guaranteeing yourself specific pieces, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost like, save them. And it's almost kind of like, when you would save your weekly bounties until like the very end and just wait for everything just to compound. So it's almost like a similar effect. You're hoarding until the last possible day and just hoping you don't forget or something comes up and you can't turn them in.
Yeah, that's always the fear, right?
Right.
Oh no!
Yeah, I mean, I already like
bounties.
I had 4. I emptied. Well, actually, he was like 3/4 of the way already leveled for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish this one here.
Yeah.
And then I had like 4 left, and I was like, wait, what did I just do? Oh, that's right. I need tokens for. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna. Before I would have just emptied the 4 into him, and I'm like, nah, I'm not. I'm just gonna hoard them, like you said, until I decide what I want to do. So it's interesting, but I'll take it. I now that I know all I need is to grind some Iron Banner to get the full set. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I'll have to get duplicates and not, because I think last go around I just had the mark, the chess piece, and one other item. I think I didn't get the full set. So I love the way both Iron Banner full sets look on the Titan. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
Except Swain Stash did point out, I saw on Twitter that the new mark on the new Titan set kind of looks like a diaper.
It's like it's not even a mark.
Now I see a diaper, but other than that, I'm totally down with both of the sets for the Titan on the Iron Banner.
Now I just want to use a shader that makes it white so that I can run around with a diaper.
There you go. Yep.
That's all I want now.
Nice.
You got charged by a man, baby. How does that feel?
I loved it in Destiny 1 when they brought back the legendary version of the no mark, if you will, the mark you could put on that made it look like you didn't have a mark on.
That's true.
But have one of those again.
I kind of like the quarterback towel though. Some of them are pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty picky about my mark. I love the Osiris mark.
Yeah, I like that one too.
That one's cool. I like that one. And then I don't know. I'm definitely. I thought I would like the ones that wrapped around your waist. Even like the Trials one was pretty cool because it just kind of has 2 little pieces that comes off each side. But I didn't leave that one on very long. Like my go-to is either the Osiris one or the Unassailable. That one's not like too overbearing, but I don't know.
Titans are very specific about their sarongs.
Right?
Yes.
I'm getting a little into my my mark fashion here, and my preference.
I'm frankly, I'm pretty disappointed in the choice of bonds in Destiny 2 compared to the fantastic stuff we got in Destiny 1.
Yeah.
Where's all my cool glowy stuff?
I know.
Yeah,
we need shiny
a
things,
ring
man.
for your arm.
Where's
All
my
about the
glowy
shiny
stuff,
things.
man? Stop holding out on us. I know you are.
Yes.
I don't know why.
I will say, you Warlocks. I ran my Warlock at different periods quite a bit in Destiny 1, back in the Firebolt days for Trials. And there were some beautiful bonds.
There were, man. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, what the heck? We'll get them one day. We'll get some cool stuff.
Make bonds great again.
Yep.
Deej isn't enough. He doesn't have enough pull.
Bonds great again. Do we have any mail this week?
We don't, dude. We have a couple emails we're sitting on because we want to do a little research on them before we answer them. Particularly, indirect shout out, Guardian, to you who sent us a question about our very first episode. We really do want to answer that email, but we've got to revisit our first episode before we do that. No, man. I mean,
one here that might be timely before this actually happens, talking about the February 8th Activision's earning call.
Yes.
You want to throw that one in real quick?
Do it. Okay. Make it happen.
All right. This is from Willis33. All right, he writes, "Hey fellas, as I would imagine, you're aware the Activision Q4 earnings call is scheduled for February 8th. I was wondering, with a few issues surrounding the gaming industry in general related to loot boxes and pay-to-play, how big of a topic you think it could be on their earnings call? I know some games have implemented a pay-for system that has been well received, and I actually didn't mind the pay-for system in D1. Additionally, in relation to D2 itself and the issues that have plagued the community since the company's third quarter earnings call, do you think this will be a topic of concern and address on the fourth quarter earnings call? Lastly, if you had a chance to ask a question or questions to senior management at Activision, what would they be? For background, I am an equity analyst, and I am the one asking those questions of managements for smaller companies on these calls. But with Activision being so loud, being so large, not sure if the issues around D2 are that big. As always, thanks for building this community, the work of the administrators and everyone else involved. While D2 is not high on my gaming list at the moment, through this community, I am not gaming alone, and that truly has let me enjoy games on such a different level." Willis33. What do you think, guys? Is Bungie's feet going to get held to the fire in the earnings call?
I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I hate to say it, but microtransactions will kind of determine, how bad is it going to be? Has the juice been worth the squeeze on that for them?
Apparently, the anticipated earnings, they did not meet their expectations for microtransactions, Eververse sales.
Interesting.
So what is that? What is their reaction is the question.
My guess, my take after hearing a whole lot of these Activision earnings calls, fourth quarter overall was awesome for Activision. Between Call of Duty, trying to think. Yeah, Destiny 2 pushed out in September, so that was fourth quarter as well. Or no, that was the end of the third quarter, right?
Yeah, Destiny would have been third quarter.
So it's a great question. I don't know. My guess is that the Activision's going to gloss it over. But they may get somebody stand up and ask questions. They've already got, we talked about it last week. An analyst, did a report reflecting negatively on Destiny's performance in the marketplace and where it's at, and said to short Activision. So, but ultimately they did just push out another DLC. I'm interested to see what their sales on it were outside of season passes.
Right, exactly. How many people that didn't opt in out of the gate just out of goodwill?
Yeah,
how many people
who just went and bought it?
Right, exactly.
If that number is low and their Eververse transaction numbers were low, it could definitely come up.
I hope, honestly, for me as a player, I hope what ends up happening if, the Eververse and, digital purchases are low on their end, that this could be the thing that swings the pendulum back into investing into what is in the game and not purchasable. I mean, a lot of people made a lot of noise about it. There's so much great stuff in the Eververse. Why are these not tied to quests? Why are these not tied to destinations? Give us this stuff in game. Make maybe a couple select really awesome things that you have to get through the Eververse, like for the Dawning, the ship. Make the ship an Eververse item or something like that. The exotic Batman Batarang ship, which I had to get with my Bright Dust. I'm like, this is cool. I don't think I'm going to get it because my RNG sucks. Ended up buying it with Dust. But, I hope that this ends up swinging that back in our favor as earnable items that also could be tied to more in-game activities that give us more story content and better, more fun, unique loot. Because at its heart, this is a loot game. This is a loot grind game. Give us more avenues to get it and not pull a slot machine or level up XP to then do a slot machine. That's a quick way to make a few bucks. Sure. You're going to find a couple whales that are going to throw some money at it, but at the end of the day, I think you're hurting your core base, which wants to go chase it. So give us the chance to do it.
And that he asked what our question would be to senior management at Activision, and I don't know if I'd have of course I'd have questions, but I just as much would love to just be a fly on a wall in those meetings. I would want to ask, even at the Activision level, as naive as it may sound, is at what point do you guys stop looking at money and numbers and, look at the feedback, Bungie is bringing to you guys of people not enjoying their game,
Right.
And where that threshold's at,
I agree. I'd like to be a fly on the wall as well, just to get an idea of, the relationship, the business relationship with a publisher and with a studio. I mean, I've, working in media, I've met many people from Activision, all awesome, wonderful people. I've met people from Bungie and other studios. They're great people. But at the same time, I don't know what things go on behind closed doors. I don't know what the business stuff is like. And I would love to see that relationship maybe change in favor of the studio, because I believe Bungie at their hearts, they want to make a game that they want to play all the time, but also that their community wants to continue to play and just continue to love. I know that's what they want to do, but also too, you got to make money. And then someone's got to publish that game as well and make sure that it gets out there and that it gets purchased so that they can continue to make the game and keep it going. I totally get that. You can only be altruistic so far. And at the end of the day, it is a business. But at the same time, how much does that influence what we see? Or at least, like stuff with the Eververse, for example. Was that a push by Activision? Was it not? We don't know.
Definitely.
Well, if you guys were able to ask a question to Activision in their earnings call, what would it be?
Go for it, McFly. I said mine.
Sure. I mean, honestly, I guess my it would be such a probing question, but it would be more like, do you fear Anthem on the horizon? Looking at the state of Destiny 2 right now, does this make you fear? What could happen to your player base? Do you think they could jump ship to a whole nother publisher?
I'm sure there was a massive sigh of relief when they saw it
that it got delayed. Absolutely. It's at this point now, with it being delayed, it's Bungie's game to lose, in the sense that, if you now have time to, restore the faith before.
On the flip side too, that could have been them realizing, making a smart decision that if they released the game at whatever state it's in, I'm completely speculating that they could have seen themselves in the same boat.
Yeah, maybe they had a lot of similarities with some of their.
They may have seen the writing on the wall, like
maybe
we got to step up.
But definitely,
game.
But also,
you're right. I mean, Bungie's got their window here to do their work, their quality of life work on their games. So
absolutely. And I think competition is going to breed nothing but great things for us. With the Division making some of the changes that it's made recently with their 1.8 update, and with Anthem just on the horizon, a now more distant horizon, but still there are threats to this looter shooter shared space. We don't know what kind of genre to call it still, but knowing that there is now 3 options to scratch that itch now. It's not just Destiny's throne anymore. There's actually, going to be some shared space here. It's going to breed good things for us as players. because there's going to be somebody, one of them is going to create something that's great, and they're going to learn from it and try to iterate on it or make it better, and we're the ones that are going to reap the benefits. So that's honestly something I'm more excited about, is seeing, what does that look like for us in the next year, like 2018, 2019, D3, D4, if we end up getting that far.
Yeah. What about you, Cyborg?
Knock on wood. If I could just ask a question, I would probably ask, this is to Activision, do you think the design and direction decisions made on D2 in hindsight were the right choices? And see what Activision thought about these things.
See where they place value.
Yeah. They made, the payoff may have been what they wanted. They sold more copies. They left, if ultimately they left 80% of the players, with a average taste in their mouth for the game and not a deep distaste, like a lot of people walked away from D1, then maybe mission accomplished. It's hard to know what strategically their goal was with the launch of a new title compared to the maintenance of the live game. And so I guess the question is, like, was that big bump worth it? What do you think it's going to mean for the game long term? So I don't know. I get really interested, and I think deeply about what the strategic decisions that they make together between the studio and the publisher. I think sometimes there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, but who knows? Tinfoil hats,
we only
right?
knew. Yep. We only knew.
Well, great question, Willis. I'm going to be looking forward to that earnings call on the 8th. We'll probably talk about it next episode. If there's anything interesting, I'd love to see that there would be. And thanks for writing in. We appreciate you being a part of the community. If you've got a piece of Derp Fam discourse, you can always email us, destinyresetpodcast@gmail.com, or send us a speakpipe at speakpipe.com/destinyreset. We appreciate your feedback, questions, comments, or shout-outs. Speaking of shout-outs,
we've got one. Derp Fan patron shout-outs, Marky Judge 27. Thank you so much for becoming a Derp Fan patron.
Yeah, thanks so much. If you don't know what a patron is, go to patreon.com/destinyreset, and you can become a patron of the show. And what that means is you support us with as little as $1 a month. That goes to our production budget for fees like hosting and improving our website and better equipment and all the things it takes to make this show go round week after week. And our patrons have done a phenomenal job at supporting us. We appreciate every one of them. If you become a patron, you get a few benefits. You get a shout out on the podcast. You get your gamer tag posted on our website, and also an invite to our Discord channel just for patrons and supporters, where you get to pick our brains or our noses, whatever you like.
Whatever suits you. Very cool. Thank you guys so much.
Captain McFly, where can people find you?
You can find me right now live on Twitch 6 days a week, twitch.tv.
Wait, you're live right now?
No, not right now. Oh, that'd be insane. My wife would not be happy. But yeah, I broadcast 6 days a week. You can find me on twitch.tv/CaptainMcFly, but you'd spell it a little bit differently with in the McFly part. It's the number 1 instead of an L.
That's okay, man.
But yeah.
I got a 0 in the Arrow Knight.
Yeah, so there you go. But you can also find me on Twitter as well, @CaptainMcFlyTV. You can also find me on YouTube. Just started that, just putting up some, Let's Play style stuff for other titles I've been streaming lately. You can just search Captain McFly. You'll find me there. And then I also do a monthly movie podcast called the Hill Valley AV Club. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, and Anchor FM.
Very cool.
Nice, man.
All right.
Did not know that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's something that we just started a couple months ago, and it's kind of like we pick one movie. You can either see it on Netflix or Prime, and you just get together and talk about it in like a podcast roundtable style discussion, and we do it live once a month.
Nice. Check that out.
Yeah, thank you.
Sounds fun. Era, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @TheArrowKnight and Twitch and YouTube. It's ArrowKnight. What about you, buddy?
You can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter and Twitch. And then finally, you can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter and www.destinyresetpodcast.com. That's your source for all things DRP, including links to subscribe to your favorite podcast app of choice. Do it!
Make it happen. Make it happen.
Thank you for your iTunes reviews.
Yes, dude. Do you see these numbers?
I saw it.
Yeah, we got another 5 out of 5 this week. Thank you for that. No written, but that's okay. We appreciate it. And that brought us up to 150 total reviews.
Ooh,
and
man.
we will say, just because we're excited, 144 of them are 5 out of 5.
It's a pretty good average.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty nice.
Decent.
Thank you guys
pretty good.
so much. Yeah. Yeah, we always have to bring up just because it's a funny story. We got that one out of 5 that said we type a lot.
Yep.
And we really still think they have.
Let me show you what typing a lot on the podcast is like real quick.
We think they had. Yeah, I got my mechanical too. Let's see here.
You should do one episode where you just get some old typewriters and be like, "This is for the 1-star guy."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
this
there you
episode's
go.
for you.
This goes out to my homie with the 1 star.
Guardian, if you're still out there, it's okay. 1 star just helps us grow.
Yep. Help us grow through that 1 star.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Plenty of room for improvement in that one review.
if you leave us an iTunes review, we thank you. If you haven't yet and you listen on the iTunes platform, please do. It helps us get seen by more listeners.
Yes.
Looking
Please
for destiny,
do.
fun, and positivity.
Captain McFly, thank you so much for joining us. We teased a while back that you were going to be coming on the show soon, so the community, the Derp fam, and listeners will be excited to finally hear you on the show.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me, guys. It was awesome, and looking forward to seeing you guys again at Guardian Con this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks
Appreciate
so much
it.
for joining us. All right, guys. Until next week, have fun playing Destiny 2, and take care, Guardians.